G'day, I'm Captain Doug Theobald, Commander Australian Submarine Force, based in Western Australia. As Commander Submarine Force, I look after the 6 boats we have and also about the 450 personnel that's based here in Western Australia out of the 830 odd submariners that we have in the Royal Australian Navy. Well, the exchange program is fundamental to both our submarine forces. And it's pretty significant. If we look at last year, we celebrated 100 years of mateship. That's 100 years of the US and Australia fighting side by side since 1918. And the submarine, a strategic force, is just one of the cornerstones of both our navies, especially in our region. Well, submarines force, the whole concept behind submarines is how we can do our job defending the sea lines of communications amongst the regions, and noting that probably about 80% of the world's trade goes through our region, both the South China Sea and also the Indian and Pacific Oceans. It's pretty substantial, and the alliance that we have between both the US and the Royal Australian Navy submarine forces provides that security to those sea lines of communications. Yeah, I suppose with that close collaboration, we've done the submarine command course, and in fact I did the first one out of Pearl Harbor in 2000, and that's training our submarine commanding officers and your submarine commanding officers, and giving the opportunity for them to go to sea on a diesel boat. How we operate it, which is different from your nuclear submarines. And also give them a chance to sit on the bottom of the ocean, because we bottom our submarines. But luckily and fortunately, I spent 2 years just recently in the US working in Newport, Rhode Island at the Undersea Warfare Centre, looking after both the heavyweight torpedo and the BYG-1 combat system operational requirements. Both those programs, they've been going for 15 years, and we've just signed the MOU for another 15 years for the heavyweight torpedo, and the BYG-1 combat system MOU will be signed for another 15 years by the end of this year. Well, I guess the big thing is the similarity of cultures. Although we're very different, we're also very same, and especially in submarines. We're about professionalism, getting the job done and doing it right, and having the US personnel with their wider and longer experience in submarines is fundamental to our growth as a submarine operating nation. Yeah, so I guess one of the best things about having an exchange program and having the US Navy submariners here is they get to bring their families across and enjoy some of those cultural differences and aspects of Australia. And that was exactly like me going to Newport, Rhode Island. Pretty amazing part of the countryside. Having a seasons, the 4 seasons, especially in Newport, Rhode Island, is pretty special. But also the opportunity to travel and see the diversity of the United States, noting that our continents are about the same size, but a lot of what's in the middle of Australia is nothing, whereas through the US with 350 odd million people compared to our 25 million, it's quite diverse. Yes, I suppose the difference between the USN and how they operate their boats and ourselves, although we're a very large and probably the largest diesel submarine operating navy in the world, or the largest size of submarines, there are some fundamental differences, and they are we are very comfortable of operating in the littoral waters and very shallow, and that works very well in our joint program. So where we can get in nice and shallow and be a target for heavyweight torpedo development, whereas the US would rather remain outside in deeper water. So there are differences. We are slower, but both our submarines, we're good operators, and it's always a challenge going up against each other, and we always learn new things every time. I mean, I can't stress enough how good it is having the exchange program. So we have the 5 6 members here from the US Navy, and we have our exchange program. You know, we have a number in Hawaii, a number over on stateside, but also some up with CDF 74 in Japan. And that collaboration is just extending that mateship, you know, that we're here to do a job and we do it well, but we also, you know, enjoy each other's company. So it's a pleasure having them, you know, work with me in Western Australia here.